Episode 10, Ask the Business Doctor, from revenue growth to leadership capacity. Welcome to Ask the Business Doctor podcast. I'm Dr. Sakira Jackson, the CEO Whisperer. And this is where we stop treating business symptoms like some random problem and start diagnosing what's really going on. I look at business through three lenses, what I call the triple helix of wisdom. That would be behavioral wisdom, biblical wisdom, and business wisdom. Because most business issues and problems are not just business issues. They generally reveal something about stewardship, about structure, and about human behavior. Today, we are talking about moving from revenue growth to leadership capacity. Revenue growth is exciting. There's more sales, there's more clients, there's more demand, there's more proof that people want what you offer. But revenue growth alone does not mean the business is healthy. Do I need to say that again? Just because you're making money doesn't mean your business is healthy. A business can have more money coming in and still be unstable. Revenue growth must match the leadership capacity. A lot of times people will misdiagnose growth with the fact that the company is stabilized. Because when the business owner sees the revenue increasing, they assume that everything is working, but that just isn't so. And then what happens? The owner gets exhausted, the delivery service gets inconsistent, the team gets confused, the profit gets unclear, the follow-up gets really messy. Decisions are reactive instead of proactive, and the business, while it feels busier, is not stronger. And that means that though revenue has increased, their capacity did not. Now, leadership capacity is the ability to carry, to guide, to decide, to structure, and to steward the business at the current level and into its next level. And that includes decision making, that includes emotional regulation, that includes communication, that includes delegation, that includes financial stewardship, that includes strategic focus, that includes team development. It also includes follow through, boundaries, and systems thinking. If revenue grows, but the leadership capacity does not, or it stays the same, the business stretches beyond the limit of what the leader can manage. And that will show up all the time, every time. So what do we do? What do we need to look at? What symptoms are showing up? How do we know this is actually happening? We're going to use our triple helix. We're going to start with biblical, as we always do. Biblical capacity matters. Every assignment has weight. And when God increases responsibility, wisdom asks us to grow in our stewardship and not just in our activity. You cannot ask for increase but refuse capacity. So sometimes you got to let it work on you so you can be the person that it works for. The business wisdom, the lens that we want to look at, is growth requires leadership infrastructure. In business, revenue growth requires an infrastructure. These are things that you need to put in place to ensure that you are stewarding your business. Those are the weekly CEO review meetings, a clear sales pipeline, the monthly rhythm that, it's your money, when it comes in, what it goes out, what it pays for, and how it gets paid. Your roles need to be defined for your team. That's job descriptions. That's employment contracts. That's health benefits. That's making sure that There is supported documentation for your team. And when we're speaking of documentation, we also want to talk about documented delivery systems. How do we deliver on the promise of value? If you're looking at your company and you don't have a documented process, that's your capacity that's limited. And that then limits your company's capacity. You also want to have decision making standards. I keep saying this from week to week. If you don't have a standard methodology of how you make decisions, how are you going to transfer that? You need a follow up process. How do you move from a lead to a customer to customer retention? What's the buyer's journey within your organization? Ensuring that you know and understand that this information is not just for big companies, mid-sized companies, small companies. If you're in business, these are things that you really need to have in place. That buyer's journey or client experience pathway helps you to know what happens when a client comes into your business and what do they experience and how do you move them from one point to the next. That leadership capacity or your inability to steward that process will impact your business because leadership capacity isn't just a mindset, it's the rhythm, the structure, and the responsibility to transfer the process, the procedures, the methodologies, the principles, and the precepts to your team. And first, you have to build it. The third lens that we're looking at in the triple helix is the behavioral wisdom. And this is where growth exposes the inner patterns. Patterns of behaviors, habits. Behaviors are the pieces that show up as results. How you be determines what you do, and what you do determines what you will have. So your pattern of behavior is going to determine what results you're going to get. So let's think about a pattern of behavior like avoiding the money conversation. It makes you uncomfortable, so then you don't teach you it properly. Now they're uncomfortable, so you don't have the money conversation. Or, and this is a big one, overcommitting and under delivering. People do it all the time. Oh, yes, sir, we can do that. Yes, we can do that. And then they can't do it. Now their reputation takes the hit. Or you're people pleasing. That's usually what happens in the overcommitting. You want to make the customer happy, so you please them by saying or doing something that is outside of the parameters of what your company is willing or able or has the capacity to do, and that impacts your business. As a leader, if you refuse to delegate, if you try to do everything yourself, that's going to limit your growth. If you stay busy but avoid the decisions that make the difference in growth, it's going to impact your business and your growth. Here's a huge one: undercharging. When you undercharge, it does not look good to your client. It reflects poorly on your service and it devalues what you're delivering. Undercharging may get you the business, but it doesn't keep you in business and it will limit your ability to grow. Because if you're growing with a lowered price and you know it doesn't cover your costs, now you just grew into a bigger problem. And then the last one is not following up because rejection feels. This is part about the sales. You ask the client for the sale, you showed them the value, delivered on it, and the client said no at this time. So then you don't put them in the follow-up category. You put them in the no category. First of all, keep in mind that you need to have 10 no's to get to one yes. But a no today does not mean that it'll be a no tomorrow because clients' needs change. So you need to set up a follow-up process to ensure that even though they said no today, you're following up to ensure that tomorrow it might be a yes. And the other thing is, it's not a rejection, it's a movement towards the yes. So sometimes you want to think about every single time you say no or a client said no, that is a stepping stone to that yes that you were looking for. And then finally, you want to keep this in mind. Your business cannot outgrow your unresolved patterns of behavior forever. So if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, and your company has expanded, but you haven't expanded your processes and procedures, your method of delivery of service, your decision making capacity, all of those things are going to limit your growth. Your leadership capacity needs to be defined and checked. So let's do a leadership capacity checkup. Here's what I want you to do. First of all, track your revenue. What's coming in, from where, from whom, and how consistently. That will help you to know what your money pattern is. Number two, track the pressure from this. Is the growth causing a strain on your company? Is it straining your ability to deliver? Is it straining your reputation because you're not always delivering on time? Is it straining your capacity to deliver because you can't be there in all places at all times? Because that's you. If you got a limited capacity and you have more sales than you have the capacity to deliver, you might need to hire more team or develop another process for delivery of service. Number three, track your leadership gap. What are you not leading in? What area are you not leading in? Because you don't have to be the expert in every area. Hire somebody who's more expert in a particular area and hand that off. And what area of leadership does your business need now? Because maybe you don't have that skill, but there are so many people out there who do. Like as your business grows and you don't like accounting, hire a fractional CEO, someone who can deliver that financial aspect of the business so that it gets what it needs and you don't have to deliver it. And the fourth piece is build one rhythm. One rhythm that things that happen every day, the same time, the same way. For example, on Monday, have a CEO review. On Tuesday, have a weekly money meeting. On Friday, have a follow-up with your clients to see where they are. On Tuesday or Wednesday, have an accounting planning rhythm. This allows you to consistently know what's going on in your company. And finally, choose one maturity move today. What is the next leadership behavior that's required in your business right now? What is the one thing that you can take on as a leader of your company that's going to expand your capacity? Because as a business owner, you can double your revenue, but not double your capacity, and you'll simply feel overwhelmed. And that will make you resent your business because you've lost time because you expanded your company. And though you make more money, you don't have the space to enjoy the increase. So look at the company and then ask yourself, if I dig deep in here, do I have a money rhythm? Do I have a delivery system? Do I have a follow-up process? Do I have a method so that every single client gets a custom experience and that it doesn't all depend on me? If that's the case and you have it set where it does depend on you, then you need more leadership capacity. You need to put that money review in place. You need to create a buyer's journey. You need to create some delivery structures. You need to create some decision rhythms, and you need to hire some more staff. The revenue is not the problem. The increase is not the problem. The growth is not the problem. What is the problem is the missing capacity to resolve the problem. So you want to ask yourself as the final diagnostic question comes to the table, what has your business grown beyond, or where has your business grown beyond your capacity, your leadership capacity, your ability to deliver? That question is not meant as an insult. It is an invitation to mature, to grow in your business. If this video resonated with you, make sure you put the comment below capacity, because growth and capacity run together. And if your revenue growth needs a leadership capacity, you can mature into it if you take the time to see where you are today. I am Dr. Sakira Jackson, CEO Whisperer, and this has been Ask the Business Doctor.